In the previous lecture, we had this output coming up when we ran the application. Now let's see if I change this URL and type something else over here. What is the response now? You can see the response still remains the same. So no matter what URL you are requesting, it's always returning us the same output. Here in ASP NetMVC core, this method that we are seeing over here, app.run, is basically a middleware. So what it does is, whenever a request comes in, this is the method which encounters that request and then returns this response as welcome to all new ASP.NET Core. Now in order to see how this works, we have to understand the concept of middleware in ASP.NET Core. We can see set of methods specified in a specific sequence, and then each one of them is responsible for producing some kind of output. So these sequence of methods that we have over here, like shown in the diagram, middleware A, B, and C, they all will be executing in that specific order. So first A will be executed, then B, and then C, which will be like this. So a request comes in, middleware A will be the first to encounter that request, then it will pass on to middleware B, and from there it will go to middleware C. You can see the next methods being called when each one of them is done executing it. So A will call a next method which will execute middleware B. Middleware B will call a next method which will execute middleware C. And then middleware C will send back the response to middleware B, and from middleware B to middleware A, and finally the response will be sent to the browser. So that's how the request handling takes place in a middleware. Now over here in our code, we currently have just one method. Now if I copy this one and paste it just above it, and let's go ahead and write it over here as hello world. Save this. Now if I'll execute this, the output will be hello world and not welcome to all new ASP.NET Core. Only this middleware will run and this will be skipped altogether. There we go. It says hello world. Now, just now in the diagram we saw that we can call middleware methods in a sequence. In order to do that, we'll have to make use of use method instead of run. The reason why we need to make use of use method is that it has got two parameters. So here we can see first one is the context or the request that we have, and then we have the next middleware function which is registered. So app.use next. Now when this next will be called, or how we'll know which is the next method to be called? Here if I go and say await next, now this will automatically call the next middleware in the sequence. So let's save this now and run it. So earlier response was hello world, and now you'll see hello world, and after that welcome to all new ASP.NET Core. So you can see that the sequence is of quite importance, and if we miss the sequence we might get a different kind of output which will not be as per our expectation. So the sequence has to be maintained. Now we can also ensure that a specific middleware function gets executed based on certain criteria or condition. For instance, if I have to write this middleware based on the request path, so I'll say context.request.path.value, and if that is the case, then only the output will be presented, otherwise the next method will be called in the sequence. So here you can see that it is just printing welcome to all new ASP.NET Core because the path is not matching what we have over here, and when it matches ASP, you can see the hello world is also printed. So we just now saw what exactly middleware is, how it can be used to tackle the HTTP requests that's coming to ASP.NET Core applications, and how we can specify more than one middleware method in specific sequences, and how we can also configure them to execute only when a certain criteria is met. In the next lecture, we'll see how we can serve static contents in ASP.NET Core MVC.